The proposal when it comes to corporate taxes. What else should investors be focused on in this State of the Union address?
Well, certainly I think the corporate tax thing is maybe the big news, and it's a way for him to really draw a contrast with his certainly now almost certain opponent, Donald Trump. These corporate tax provisions would, among other things, basically repeal the business Trump tax cuts, which the former president will run on. Also, I mean, he's going to talk about, I'm just going to talk about shrinkflation a little bit. He's going to talk about, get some hint of what other aspects of his agenda, such as funding healthcare. I mean, I'm not sure people have a very good idea at this point of what the president would do in a second term. And the president will also talk about what he's been done in this term. Because certainly the administration feels like the general story of the first Biden term and the infrastructure spending and the clean energy spending really isn't well understood by the American people.
All right. So, you're saying right now taxes on corporations and the wealthy, that's going to be one of the themes. And also it's going to be a broader theme. You're mentioning what the president did during his first term. You say he's going to focus on what you're calling economic populism.
Yeah, he has his kind of, you have Donald Trump with his populism, and his populism, while it's not that different when it comes to things like trade, is going to be different when it comes, you mentioned corporate jets, that's part of it. Going after billionaires, that's another part of it. Going after companies, not just on corporate taxes, but also on things like, are they trying to take advantage of inflation by shrinking package sizes? All are different aspects of sort of, democratic populism as opposed to Donald Trump's sort of right-wing populism.
All right. One other area he's going to focus on is lowering health care costs. I believe could kind of be under that umbrella of economic populism. But what are you expecting him to say specifically when it comes to the State of the Union address tonight when it comes to health care?
That they want the government and Medicare to negotiate across a wide, particularly on drugs, a wide spectrum of drugs, not just 10 or 20, but many, many. So getting down healthcare costs, because one thing about the Affordable Care Act, it gave people health insurance, but it hasn't really done a lot to rein in healthcare costs. So he wants to attack that. And listen, let's not forget, this isn't just policy. It's going to be politics. The president needs to seem vigorous.
Yeah, appearances do matter when it comes to speeches like this. There's one other topic I would imagine he'd hit on. I want to get your take. How does he address big tech and also the emergence of artificial intelligence?
Yeah, I'm going to find that really interesting because he put out this executive order over the summer, and that's slowly going to be implemented on AI. And I'll be looking to see if he says anything more about it. What I would like to see him talk about is sort of the promise. Because it could really upend, accelerate economic growth, make the deficit, because he wants to reduce the deficit through some of those corporate tax hikes. Another way to reduce the deficit is grow the economy faster. And I would love for him to talk about something which is going to be a pretty big part of our lives going forward.
Do you expect him to talk about regulation specifically, or simply, it sounds like you think he's going to be optimistic and talk about the promise?
I don't know if he's going to be optimistic. I mean, certainly he'll talk about, what has he done in the past that people might not know about. AI regulation is part of it. But I would like for him to balance that with like an upbeat message about what it can do for us.